Coffee black, no sugar. Try not to mess it up this time, Sarah. My sister Victoria's voice dripped with the same condescension she'd perfected since childhood. Around the mahogany board table, the other executives smirked, already dismissing me as another insignificant assistant. If they'd bothered to read the name on my visitor's badge, Sarah Mitchell, not Sarah Harrison, they might have wondered why I carried a different surname. But people like Victoria never looked that closely at people they considered beneath them. I nodded silently and headed to the executive break room, my Louboutin heels clicking against marble floors. The shoes cost more than Victoria's monthly salary, not that anyone here would notice. They saw what they expected to see, the quiet younger sister doing menial tasks just like always. Oh, and Sarah? Victoria called after me. Make sure it's hot this time. Unlike your career prospects. More snickers from the board members. I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the glass walls, tailored Chanel suit, grandmother's pearls, and an expression of careful neutrality that had taken years to perfect. The same expression I'd worn 6 months ago when I'd started quietly buying shares in Harrison Pharmaceuticals through my investment firm, Mitchell Global. In the break room, I took my time preparing Victoria's coffee, remembering the day that set this all in motion. 5 years ago, when our father announced he was making Victoria CEO of the family company instead of splitting leadership between us as our grandfather had intended. Business requires a certain ruthlessness, he'd said, not quite meeting my eyes. Victoria has that quality. You're too soft, too academic with your MBA and your strategic planning. So I'd taken my inheritance, a mere $2 million that Victoria had mockingly called my consolation prize, and disappeared into the world of private equity. While they thought I was finding myself, I was building Mitchell Global into a silent powerhouse, specializing in acquiring underperforming family companies. Companies exactly like Harrison Pharmaceuticals. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, my chief financial officer at Mitchell Global. Final share purchase confirmed. We now own 51%. Ready when you are. Perfect timing. I returned to the boardroom, setting Victoria's coffee beside her stack of quarterly reports. Reports showing the company's steady decline under her leadership. She didn't even look up, too busy outlining her latest vision for the company. As I was saying, she continued, we need to focus on short-term profits. Cut research and development, eliminate unnecessary positions. She paused to sip her coffee, grimacing. Sir, this is barely warm. Can't you do anything right? I took my seat at the far end of the table, pulling out my laptop. The screen showed a live feed of Harrison Pharmaceuticals' stock price, dropping another 2% during this very meeting. Ms. Harrison, Robert Chin, the CFO, interrupted Victoria's monologue. Before we continue, there's an urgent matter we need to discuss. Victoria waved her hand dismissively. Whatever it is can wait. I'm explaining my strategy for... It's about ownership. Robert pressed on, his face tense. We've discovered that a significant portion of our shares has been acquired by an anonymous investor over the past 6 months. The room fell silent. Victoria's coffee cup paused halfway to her lips. What do you mean, significant portion? She demanded. 51%, Robert replied, shuffling through papers. Through a series of shell companies all leading back to Mitchell Global. Victoria laughed, but I caught the edge of panic in it. Never heard of them. Probably some small-time operation we can buy out. Actually, Robert continued, Mitchell Global is one of the most successful private equity firms in the country. They specialize in turning around family companies that have lost their way. He looked directly at me for the first time that morning. And their CEO is in this room. I closed my laptop with a soft click, enjoying the way Victoria's face shifted from confusion to dawning horror. Sarah, she whispered, coffee cup trembling in her hand. What did you do? What did you do? Victoria repeated, her voice rising as coffee sloshed over the rim of her cup onto the quarterly reports. I stood slowly, smoothing my suit. Actually, the question is, what did you do, Victoria? Under your leadership, Harrison Pharmaceuticals has lost 40% of its market value. Our grandfather's research initiatives have been gutted. Employee turnover is at an all-time high. You can't. Victoria sputtered, looking desperately around the boardroom. The other executives avoided her gaze, suddenly fascinated by their tablets and notebooks. Ms. Mitchell, Robert Chin emphasized my chosen surname, has been quietly acquiring shares through various investment vehicles for the past 6 months. All completely legal, all properly documented. I pulled a thick folder from my briefcase. The same briefcase Victoria had mocked as trying too hard to look professional this morning. Inside you'll find my plans for restructuring Harrison Pharmaceuticals. We're returning to grandfather's vision. Innovative research, employee development and long-term growth. This is ridiculous. Victoria stood up, coffee forgotten. Dad made me sue. This is my company. Was your company, I corrected gently. The board will find complete documentation of financial mismanagement under your leadership. Excessive executive bonuses, cancelled research projects and... I paused, enjoying the moment, interesting transfers to personal accounts. The color drained from Victoria's face. Those were approved expenses. By you for you, I nodded. The SEC might have a different opinion. My phone buzzed, a text from our father. What's this about Mitchell Global? Victoria's hysterical. Call me immediately. I ignored it, addressing the board instead. As majority shareholder, I'm calling for an immediate vote on new leadership. Mr. Chin, would you do the honors? Robert stood, clearly relieved. He'd been warning Victoria about the company's decline for months. All in favor of accepting Ms. Harrison's, Ms. Mitchell's restructuring plan and leadership, please raise your hand. Every hand went up except Victoria's. She stared at them, betrayal written across her face. You can't do this to me. I'm a Harrison. So am I replied. I just chose to earn my position rather than inherit it. Dad will never allow this. Dad doesn't have a choice. Mitchell Global owns controlling interest. And before you call him again, I added, seeing her reach for her phone, you might want to check the company ownership records. His shares were part of my acquisition. Victoria sank back into her chair, her perfect power suit wrinkled, her carefully styled hair coming undone. All this time, while you were getting coffee and taking notes, I was doing due diligence, I finished. Learning every weakness, every vulnerability, every opportunity for improvement. Amazing what people say in front of someone they think is just an assistant. The boardroom doors opened and my Mitchell Global team entered. Lawyers, accountants and strategists I'd spent years assembling. Victoria watched in stunned silence as they distributed transition documents and non-disclosure agreements. You'll find your severance package on page 3, I told her. Generous considering the circumstances. Though the company car needs to be returned by end of day. My car? But how will I? There's a coffee shop 2 blocks away, I suggested. I hear they're hiring baristas. You seem to have strong opinions about coffee temperature. My phone kept buzzing. Messages from family members, industry contacts, even old classmates who'd suddenly remembered my existence. News travels fast in business circles, especially when it involves a family power shift this dramatic. One more thing, I added, picking up Victoria's now cold coffee. When you're ready to learn how business really works, Mitchell Global has an excellent management training program. Entry level, of course. And yes, I smiled, getting coffee is part of the job. The look on her face was almost worth every condescending comment, every dismissive gesture, every moment I'd spent building my empire in silence. Almost. The next 24 hours unfolded exactly as I'd planned. Victoria was escorted from the building, her access cards deactivated, her parking spot reassigned. By midnight, #Harrison Takeover was trending on business Twitter, with Forbes already requesting an exclusive on the Silent Sisters' strategic coup. I worked through the night in my new office, formerly Victoria's, though I'd already ordered the removal of her gold-plated desk and self-aggrandizing artwork. The space would return to what it had been in our grandfather's time. Practical, purposeful, focused on innovation rather than ego. At 3 a.m. my father finally burst in, security trailing apologetically behind him. It's fine, I waved them away. Family meeting apparently. What have you done? He demanded, looking strange without his usual air of authority. Victoria's devastated. Your mother can't stop crying. The country club is buzzing with rumors. I continued reviewing research proposals. The kind Victoria had shelved in favor of quick profits. I've saved our grandfather's company. The company you let Victoria run into the ground because you thought leadership required cruelty rather than competence. By hiding behind some made-up company? Mitchell Global. He spat the name like it tasted bitter. Why didn't you come to me if you wanted a bigger role? Like I came to you 5 years ago? I looked up finally. When I presented a detailed growth strategy and you said I was too soft for business? He flinched. That was different. You were young, inexperienced. I was top of my class at Wharton with a thesis on pharmaceutical industry innovation. Victoria barely graduated and spent more time networking than learning. I pushed forward a tablet showing Harrison Pharmaceuticals' performance graphs. The results speak for themselves. My phone lit up with a message from Victoria. You've ruined my life. Happy now? No, Victoria, I murmured, typing back. I've given you the chance to earn one. Dawn broke over the city as I outlined the new reality for our father. His shares now under Mitchell Global's control. Victoria's severance, contingent on her signing a non-compete agreement. The board's unanimous support for my leadership. But the family name, he protested weakly, is exactly why I created Mitchell Global, I finished. To prove that success should be earned, not inherited. Grandfather understood that. It's why he wanted us to share leadership, Victoria's aggression tempered by my strategy. And now, you'll run everything yourself. No, I smiled, pulling out another folder. I'm implementing the shared leadership structure grandfather envisioned. But instead of family entitlement, it'll be based on merit. Several promising researchers Victoria dismissed are rejoining the company in leadership roles. The morning light filled the office as I continued working even after he left. Messages kept flowing in. Victoria, the management training program? You're mocking me. Mom, please, let's talk about this as a family. Dad, the board must be pressured. This can't stand. Various cousins, about that job opening you mentioned. I answered none of them, focused instead on rebuilding what they'd nearly destroyed. By noon I'd reinstated 3 critical research projects. Reversed Victoria's layoffs of key scientific personnel. Scheduled meetings with potential research partners. Drafted a new company mission statement emphasizing innovation over immediate profit. At 2 p.m. Victoria made one last attempt, barging into my office. You planned this for years, she accused, looking disheveled. While pretending to be the perfect helpful sister, you were plotting to steal my company. Our company, I corrected. And I didn't steal it. I earned it. Every share, every vote, every moment of respect I'll receive from the board. Earned, not inherited. By deceiving everyone. Playing the quiet little sister while building some secret company. Mitchell Global isn't secret. It's successful. Maybe if you'd spent less time ordering people around and more time understanding the industry, you'd have seen it coming. She sank into a chair, defeated. What am I supposed to do now? Learn, I said simply. Start at the bottom. Understand how business really works. The management training offer was genuine, Victoria. But you'll have to earn your place just like everyone else. After she left, I stood at the window, grandmother's pearls catching the afternoon light. The same pearls I'd worn every day while Victoria dismissed me as the family failure, never noticing they were grandmother's signature piece. Her reminder that quiet strength outlasts loud power. Over the next month, Harrison Pharmaceuticals transformed. Research flourished, stock prices stabilized, and employee morale soared. Victoria surprisingly accepted the management trainee position, though she struggled with taking orders instead of giving them. Our father stopped trying to reverse the takeover after the first quarter results showed a 30% increase in research productivity. Mother still called daily, but her tears had given way to cautious pride when her friends shared articles about the company's renaissance. 6 months later, I received an unexpected delivery. A coffee cup filled with still-hot premium roast with a note in Victoria's handwriting. Black, no sugar, served with a slice of humble pie. You were right. Learning from the bottom up changes everything. I placed it beside the framed newspaper article announcing Mitchell Global's acquisition of Harrison Pharmaceuticals. Sometimes the best revenge isn't in the winning. It's in teaching others why they lost. That evening, sitting in what had once been Victoria's office, I opened our grandfather's old journal, My Real Inheritance. His last entry read, Success isn't inherited through blood but earned through wisdom. Some lead from the front, others build from the shadows. The truly successful do both. I smiled, thinking of all the coffees I'd served, all the notes I'd taken, all the quiet moments I'd used to build something extraordinary. Victoria had wanted to be seen as powerful. I'd focused on becoming powerful. The difference was everything. My phone buzzed one final time, a message from Victoria. Team meeting tomorrow. I'm bringing coffee. Properly heated this time. Progress comes in many forms, I thought, even in perfectly heated cups of coffee served by former CEOs learning what real leadership means. And sometimes the best response to coffee black isn't just serving it. It's owning the company that grows it, the chain that serves it, and the building where it's being ordered. But that's a story for another board meeting. Later that night, in my home office, I found myself looking through old photos. Moments captured before power and position had divided our family. There was Victoria and me as children sharing ice cream cones, neither of us caring who had the bigger scoop. Another showed us at our grandfather's lab, both equally fascinated by the microscopes and beakers. When did it change? I wondered aloud, touching the faded images. When did success become a competition instead of a collaboration? My phone lit up with another message, this time from Robert Chin. Research team has a breakthrough on the pediatric cancer drug Victoria shelved. They're asking for you both to review it. I smiled, remembering our grandfather's words about shared leadership. Maybe there was still hope for the kind of partnership he'd envisioned, not handed down through birthright, but built on mutual respect and earned wisdom. I texted Victoria, tomorrow's meeting, bring your research background too. Time to remember why we both loved science before we cared about titles. Her response came quickly, the coffee will be hot and I'll dust off my old lab notes. Some experiments are worth repeating. Perhaps the greatest success isn't in proving who's better, but in rediscovering how to be better together. After all, even the strongest coffee gets bitter when served alone. And sometimes the most powerful position isn't at the head of the table. It's bringing everyone to it, one well-brewed cup at a time.